Welcome back to Mr. Lamb's Science Corner. The element today is number 17, chlorine. And chlorine is usually associated with swimming pools. If you own a swimming pool or operate a swimming pool, you have to use chlorine. People in the pool leave behind bodily gunk, and the chlorine will take care of that bodily gunk, although wait for it to dissolve before going back in, because it will dissolve the bodily gunk. But if you go in there when it hasn't yet dissolved and then you open your eyes in the pool, it will get into your eyes, unless of course you're wearing goggles. Goggles are highly recommended, because if the chlorine gets anywhere else on you, you're probably not going to feel it. Going into a pool that's been chlorinated with goggles or any form is probably a good idea. If it's glasses, don't do that, because they're gonna fall off, even if they have a strap back here. And they're going to fall off. Goggles, having a tighter elastic strap will eventually conform to your head. If you don't, then get ones that will. I want to do a dual video today, sneak in a demo as well as an element video, and you can try this at home. If you go out there at near winter time and there's an icy patch or whatever on the sidewalk that you want to get rid of, but you don't have an ice pick or something very, very sharp besides forks. Forks are not practical because they're way too small, but get out some good old-fashioned sodium chloride, also known as salt, especially if you have iodized sodium chloride. And everybody needs salt, even sea salt. Here's what you do with the salt. Very quick. Have you got a good angle on that? Okay, good. You take the salt, pretend that this bowl is an ice patch on the sidewalk. Just goes like this. And for whatever reason, I don't know the exact process, but the sodium chloride separates out the hydrogen and the oxygen, and if they can't be married, then they can't be water, and if they can't be water, they can't be ice. And it might take a while for the icy patch to be getting rid of, depends upon how big it is. Now, this won't work with frozen seawater, because frozen seawater already has an appreciable amount of salt in it. The best way to approach an icy patch on the sidewalk is, if you know where it is to simply go around. If you can, around or over or some variation thereof. The historical fact about sodium chloride, salt, during World War II, we were in the Philippines with other people, and the locals, the natives of the Philippines, kept eating everybody. In New Guinea, the locals were eating us, as well as the Japanese. They were eating pretty much everybody. And then we found out what they actually wanted. It was the salt content of our bodies. So we said, we'll give you salt, all the salt you want, quit eating us. And then they said, through regulators. Well, how about these other guys? We said, we don't care. Go ahead, eat them. We don't care. And by the time the Japanese figured out what was going on, the New Guinea was no longer of major interest. We were elsewhere, the Japanese were elsewhere, and we were consolidating forces and using other means to win the war, which I'm not going to go into right now. But anyway, salt on our end and sodium chloride helped us stay alive long enough to not be in, but certainly long enough to be shot at, which is not necessarily a helpful trade-off. Although at least with being shot at, you have a chance to duck. If you're being eaten, you don't have much of a chance at that point. So, yeah, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Sodium chloride, main ingredient, yes, it's listed second, but chlorine is more important than the sodium, because if all you have is sodium, then you don't fully have salt. It just works that way. If you have sodium chloride, you have chlorine in the salt, you have salt. And best idea at the stores is to get iodized sodium chloride if you can tolerate it, and you can't, look into sea salt. Everybody needs salt, or you run into trouble.
Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.